Hey guys, sorry it's taken me so long to put up another video. It's been a hellish week at work. I've got the day off today, so I've taken some time out to do you a pan-fried fish dish. So we're going to be doing barramundi. So I'll do pan-fried barramundi with a macadamia and lime crust. I'll be doing that on a cauliflower puree, cauliflower and parmesan puree with a red capsicum glaze, and we'll be putting on some grilled asparagus as well. Asparagus is well into season here in Australia and it's looking fantastic, so we'll be doing some asparagus with that as well. So yeah, the barramundi, for those of you who don't know what barramundi is that aren't in Australia, barramundi is a freshwater fish here. It can grow to be quite a big fish, but it's quite a tasty fish. In the up in the larger rivers up north near the Northern Territory, the barramundi swim wild. Now they tend to have a muddy flavour if they're caught in the rivers. However, barramundi is very similar to salmon, where they do survive out at sea as well. So the barramundi we're using today is sea farmed, which is a sustainable product, which I feel really strongly about. You know, the way things are going with overfishing and the plundering of the oceans, we're running out of fish at a rapid rate. So using a sustainable product that's sea farmed, that doesn't impact that much on the environment, is, for me, it's the way to go. So great tasting barramundi, and we're going to be doing that with that cauliflower and parmesan puree. So really looking forward to it, so let's get started. So we've got the cauliflower in the pot, and we put enough milk in here just to cover it. I haven't got any salt or pepper in that, I'm just leaving it as is. Cover it, turn up the heat, bring it to the boil. Once it's come to the boil, I'll turn it down to a simmer and let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes until the cauliflower is tender. It's important that the cauliflower is really tender, and then we'll puree it. So I'm making the macadamia crust now. So I'm starting off with raw macadamias. To that I'm going to add half a teaspoon of seeded mustard and the zest of 1 lime. So we'll just zest that whole lime up, get that in there as well, and then half a teaspoon of sesame seeds goes in at the end after I've blended it up. To that I season it at the end, some salt, pepper, and that should be it. The test to see if it's ready, if you put it on your fingers, it should stick together quite well, and that should help to crust the barramundi. Now, because macadamias, like most nuts, are quite oily, I shouldn't have to add any oil or butter or anything like that to it, but we'll test it at the end to see if it's ready or not. I'm not going to add any breadcrumbs to this because I want the dish to be gluten free. So that's the crumb there. To that now I'm going to add my seasoning and some sesame seeds. So good teaspoon of sesame, salt and pepper. I'll just pulse that once or twice and then that's it, done. As you can see over here, the capsicum has come to where I want it. There's just enough liquid down there to give me a nice sauce consistency. I'll let that cool a bit. Putting a hot liquid like that inside my blender is not going to be good for my blender. I'll let that cool and then we'll blend that till it's really fine. The cauliflower is almost done as well. So the capsicum's cooled sufficiently now. Fit in the blender. I'll blend that until smooth. As you can see, it's got quite a smooth consistency. I probably want to blend that a little bit more, actually get it a little bit smoother, and then we'll season it up and we'll have a look how that's come out. So I'll just check. It's got quite an intense acidic flavour from the vinegar, but it's got a beautiful, rich, full roasted capsicum flavour. Obviously, I'm not actually going to add anything apart from a bit of pepper to that. And that's done. Now, to show you what an impressive sauce it is, I'll just put it on this white plate. Just what a fantastic colour. As you can see, it's beautiful consistency. It holds its form well. It doesn't run. It just sits on the plate wonderfully, and I can do a lot with that. So that's our sauce done. Our cauliflower is cooked. I'm going to let that cool now as well, and then I'll blend that and we'll get started on the fish. Right, so I've just finished peeling my asparagus. So I've got my asparagus ready to go. Now the cauliflower has come off the stove. I've got my milk down the bottom there. Now I'm going to need some of that milk again when I blend it up to make sure that I get it at the right consistency. Remember, there's no seasoning in that. I'm going to season it now. So we'll put that in the blender. We'll get it nice and smooth, and we'll get started on the barramundi. So this is the barramundi. It's about a 200 gram or 180 gram fillet that they've given me. It's skinless, and over here you can see you've got the belly flap. I'm just going to take that off. Can be a little bit tough, and I've trimmed it up nice and neat. They've pretty much done all the work for me. So I'm going to season that now. I've got my pan ready to go, and we'll get that in the pan. A little bit of salt, pepper, and that's us. Now it's important to remember, seal it off first so that you seal all the moisture in, and you give it a bit of colour, and then you put on the crumb. Right, now when I cook fish, there's a little rule that we use in the restaurants. Presentation side goes down first. Now presentation side is the side that you're going to present to your guest. With fish, it's usually the opposite to the skin side. So that's my skin side, that's my presentation side. Now presentation side goes down first, because when you put that down on the pan, you're going to let that sit and get color. That means after about 5 minutes you're able to turn it over to finish the other side. Then lift it off the pan and put it straight on the plate. That way you're not turning it too many times. So presentation side goes down first, and we leave it there. Don't turn it too much, don't move it, just leave it. Now it's quite a high heat that I'm getting it, so I'm just searing it off. I haven't got a lot of oil on that, just enough to coat the bottom of the fish. It's quite important as well that within the first 30 seconds we move it just to make sure that it doesn't stick. So we're just moving it around, but we're not turning it. Right, now we'll turn it over very gently. Beautiful golden brown, just perfect. We'll leave it here for another 30 seconds, and then we'll transfer it across to the tray, and then we'll put on the crust. Right, so there we've got it on the tray now, and I'm just going to spoon on that macadamia crust and push it down very gently. There we go. Now, I've preheated the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. That's going to go in the oven, 180, for about 6 minutes. Right, so I've allowed my cauliflower to cool slightly so I don't melt my blender. I've got the leftover milk right over here. That's I'm going to add to it just to give me a thinner consistency if I need it. Now to the cauliflower, I'm going to grate in some parmesan, and this is just to taste. So I'm adding about, I'd say about 50 to 60 grams. To that, we add salt and pepper. Now I'll blend it fine first, and then I'll have a look what the consistency is like, because I'm assuming that cauliflower is going to have absorbed a lot of milk already. So we'll see what it's like after we've blended it. So that consistency is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Fairly similar to mash. So I'm actually not even going to add any liquid to it. And we'll just check the flavor. For my liking, could do a little bit more salt, and I'd say some more parmesan as well, and that should be ready. Right, so the fish is about 5 minutes off, and we'll just get our asparagus on the go. So I've just got some garlic olive oil here. Just on a medium heat, I'm gonna very lightly grill the asparagus. I haven't blanched or anything. I want to keep it really simple. As you know, my sauce is ready. My cauliflower puree is keeping warm. My fish is almost there, so we're in the final stages now. Right, as you can see, the asparagus is colouring up quite nicely. I've just thrown in a couple of rosemary sprigs in there as well. And that's almost done. So I don't want the asparagus to be too soft. I'm just grilling it very lightly. Starting with the cauliflower puree right in the middle. Then on top of that, we'll put our asparagus. A beautiful barramundi. A fantastic capsicum glaze. Some contrast, and what a sensational dish. So our North Queensland barramundi with macadamia lime crust on cauliflower puree, grilled asparagus and capsicum glaze.